long-term care facility which has mostly residents with mobility issues due to advanced chronic medical conditions. In this episode, we're going to look at nurses who are presented with an ethical dilemma when the director of care announces budget cut. 2 briefs per patient in 24 hours.
Okay, good morning, ladies. Welcome to our 2015 budget meeting. We have a lot to discuss today, so let's just get to business, okay? I have some news. Not very good news for the patients, but we gotta do what we gotta do because none of us want to cut our salaries, right? So the news are, it's gonna be only 2 briefs per day per patient. And you will have to deliver the news to the nurses and they have to listen to us. We gotta do what we gotta do. What do you guys think?
Well, I see a big problem coming here because the nurses are not gonna like that idea.
Well, and it's not up for them to decide, right?
Well, we have no choice. Our budget is very tight. Something has to give. If not the brief, so we proceed for layoff.
No layoffs, guys. Everyone is keeping their position. Anyway, so just make sure that the nurses get the news today and make sure they do not use more than 2 briefs per day. Okay?
Sure, I always get to tell the nurses that's the hardest part. But
it's not a big deal. 2 briefs per patient per day, that's a luxury. Trust me. Not a
Okay,
big deal.
sounds good.
Yeah, it's fine. See you guys on the break.
Where is my nurse? Just call her right now because I need to get my brief changed.
Whoa,
Oh, there she is.
I hear a lot of screaming here. What's going on?
What's going on? Do you see me here? I've been sitting on the pool for like all day and I had to eat my lunch with the pool on it.
I'm sure you're exaggerating a little bit.
Do you think this is exaggeration?
No. Don't do that. Let me put my coffee down. I'll fix that for you, okay? So listen, I have to explain something to you because I think you don't understand something. We're only allowed to use 2 briefs per patient per day, okay?
What, you have time to drink your coffee and you don't have time to change my brief?
Do you want me to get dehydrated? I have to stay hydrated. I gotta drink something, right? So just relax. The next brief change is gonna be in another 4 hours. Somebody's gonna change you.
Oh,
You're gonna be great, okay?
this is crazy.
We have another brief reserved for you for today, okay? So don't worry. We got it under control. I'm just gonna go to my other patients, okay? Just hold on.
Don't forget your coffee.
All right. Thank you.
Now let's pause there for a minute. There are a lot of things that went wrong. Besides the obvious, such as the coffee cup, the arm throwing syndrome, the nurse therapeutic communication. But there is something even larger than that, and that was the ethical issue at hand. The key here is to really assess the situation and identify A, what the problem is, who is the decision maker in this process, who is involved, and who is affected. The problem in this situation is the adverse effect of budget cut on the quality of patient care. The nurse, the director of care, the patient, the medical facility, the government, they all are involved in this case scenario to a varying degree, and to a varying degree, they also are the ones that have capacity to make decisions as well as be affected by them. And sometimes the solution is not that simple. Prudency requires analysis of moral theories and principles. The principles involved in this case scenario are: what is also important is to consider the values that the nurses bring into this decision-making framework. There is no one set of values, rather it is acquired through education and socialization. The most important nursing value identified in this situation is the importance placed on the client's well-being.
Have you heard about the news?
Yes, I did. What do you think?
I think this is totally wrong. Patients, they deserve better care, you know? We're here to care for them, and I feel wrong not responding to their needs. It's like, it just feels wrong. This is not why I went into this profession in the first place.
Yeah, but don't be so serious about it. Think about your job.
I don't know. You know, when I went to school, they taught us to think as our patients, like as our priority. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what we can do is just follow the administration rule.
I think we have to address this issue because they're going to listen to nurses, and we have to advocate for the patients. I think I'm going to speak with the director of care and do something about it.
Okay, give it a try.
I will do my best to improve the service to the client. Anyway, whatever we do based on the client need.
What I can do on my side is the residents who are movable, who are using the washroom, I can, instead of giving them the brief, I can use that to use to the ones who are not going to the washroom and who are like Alzheimer's or dementia, or those kind of clients who cannot use the washroom by themselves. I'll use the other residents' brief to use for these clients. So that's what I can do, and so I'll continue working with them and help the residents in that way.
I would talk to the administration. I would talk to the nurse manager. So it needs to be changed, right? This is not the right policy, I think.
What I would do, I guess I would talk to the manager of the floor and the charge nurse and see what can be done about it. But other than that, I don't think I know what else to do. Other than that, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, we try to find something else to cut back on, but not briefs. For sure, that's pretty important. It's for patient comfort.
I would actually advocate on the patient behalf, and I would advocate for the budget to meet, right, the expectation, of the patient's care, rather than over budgeting it, right? You meet the budget line. How we come up with that is basically it's through just research, right? You have to research, like, every facility is different, right? And I think that the Ministry of Health, right, should have a program like that specified per facility, because not every facility is the same. So that's why I believe. And as a nurse, I would definitely advocate on the the patient's behalf.
If I was in a facility and I was the nurse working there, I would definitely gather all the nurses. I would put together a meeting along with facts and reports to show that the damage that would cause or that would happen if patients only had 2 briefs per day. I would bring that report to the head of the hospital or whoever is making the decision to let them know the downfalls that would happen to the patients, the increased risk of infection, the increased risk of skin integrity. Everything would go through the roof. And I would make sure that I follow that fight through to the end until they change their mind. And I actually make sure that 2 brief policy would not go through.
To solve the ethical dilemma, we need to first choose a framework. In this case, we've chosen the nursing process approach to the ethical decision making. This policy can put patients at risk for impaired skin integrity as well as increased risk for infection. As a group, when we analyze our own personal beliefs and values, we realize that we do not consider the 2 briefs per day per patient to be ethical. In our case scenario, our understanding is that clients are able to verbalize their discomfort and request for brief changes as needed. Risks for skin breakdown and development of pressure ulcers are facts that cannot be denied. According to the Institute for Clinical Systems Improvement, the estimated cost of managing a single full-thickness pressure ulcer is as high as $70,000. We realize that our choices included either we agree with the agency policy or we try to do some creative thinking outside the box, and if all else fails, we refuse the assignment. Choice 1 would be to agree with the agency, and we can make that choice based on the ethical principles of fidelity, beneficence, and non-beneficence. One can argue that if the facility has budget limitations, there could be areas that would prove to be even more harmful for the patients than the brief change policy. For example, short supply of nurses can adversely affect patient care. Understanding their facility's limitation, the nurse can keep their promise to their agency and to the patients and continue to provide care, because cutting back on brief supply is an issue that can be overcome by applying resourceful uses of briefs and creative options of recruitment of supplies. Now, another option for the nurses would be to think outside the box. The nurses can continue to advocate for the patient's need, at the same time contribute to the solution of limited finances for the agency. Nurses can choose to partner with the agency in raising funds for the brief supply. They can think of ways to save money in other areas, such as suggesting recruitment of volunteers for replacement tasks. They can request family members who can afford to bring their supply of briefs. Being truthful to patients about policy and involving patient input in this problem resolution. The nurses can also use fairness in supply allocation, raise public awareness for further fundings, and as well as educate the public. Now, the other option for the nurses is if thinking outside the box options are exhausted and the solution of the problem is still not found, and if the current policy remains unchanged, the nurse's last resort is to refuse the assignment.
Sorry, can I have your
Hi,
attention?
Natalie.
I just want to talk to you about something. Is it okay if we make an appointment? I need to discuss with you something really important about the
Okay.
patients and the
Sure.
new two-brief rule.
Okay, sure. Come by my office in 10 minutes.
Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
And this is what the nurses said to the director of care.
Ministry of Health indicates that patients are to be given briefs as when they are needed.
As nurses, we have ethical obligations to act in the client's best interest and to cause no harm. We are aware that not changing a person's brief can cause skin breakdown ranging from mild erythema to chemical erosion and pressure ulcers. Knowing this and not acting on our client's best interest is an act of causing harm.
The cost to treat pressure ulcer is far greater than the saving associated with limited brief changes.
We don't necessarily need to sacrifice our patients' comfort and safety and security and skin integrity and everything else that's associated with that. We could just simply find another solution that targets more the money aspect. So for example, we could find a supplier or a company that makes briefs at a lower cost than the one that we get it from right now. We could also implement a small fee that's only charged for patients that are disabled and use more briefs than other patients, because it is only fair that the patients that do not require as many brief changes do not get this kind of fee. Or if that doesn't work very well, then probably we could find another solution, such as maybe a fundraising event.
Gather here collectively to tell you that if you don't change the policy, we're going to refuse the assignments. We've also brought with us the signed assignment refusal papers to submit to you in the event that you don't change the policy.
All right. Well, thank you for your feedback. I hear what you say, and I will definitely talk about this with our at the board meeting.